Hey, nice to meet you. I'm Namrata, the founder and CEO of NamNR Pro. Thanks for visiting us today. You're probably here because you're interested to learn a little bit more about our company, what we offer, and what we do, and why we do it. Well, NamNR Pro story is closely linked to my own. I've honed many hats in my career. I was a dentist, a clinical and regulatory consultant in the med tech sector, chief medical officer and VP marketing for a dental device startup, and now the CEO of this company. My journey actually starts before my career. As the daughter of a diplomat, I traveled extensively. So from that journey, I finally settled in India, where I decided to study dentistry, and I practiced dentistry for a few years, moved to Slovenia, and eventually to Switzerland, where I couldn't practice my dentistry at all unless I redid my whole education. It's a very common problem that a lot of expat dentists face. But in my specific case, I decided to transition careers and I moved into the medtech sector. And throughout my years here in this corporate part of my career, I've seen a lot of different potholes developing or existing as I went along this path. What potholes am I talking about? Well, let me explain. So the journey of building a great dental device actually starts at the ideation phase. And the superheroes that step in first and foremost are the engineers. Some of the potholes that I observed was, number one, engineers are kind of thrown into the abyss. So they usually start with Googling or YouTubing the condition that the device is meant to treat. But a crux of their research goes into finding the most similar device and then deconstructing it, reverse engineering it until they understand the core principles of how this device is supposed to be made. And from there on, they start building the new device from the ground up. Now, usually in that scenario, they don't have the luxury of getting a lot of input from the end users, that is the dentists. And even if they do, it's only a small percentage or a very small number of dentists that they are actually able to contact and take their opinion of. Now that's a disadvantage in the long term because we don't have enough of a sample size to direct our decision-making process at this stage of prototyping. So what NamNR Pro does is that we give access to all the engineers in the dental device companies and also other team members, so it could be clinical, marketing, regulatory, doesn't matter. But we have presented to the world a global dentists pool. Now, other than this, engineers are also barely trained on the dental jargon that they need to understand and the why behind the device. How is it improving oral health? What exactly is oral health? How does the device interact in a human body? All of these things are usually not provided, and it's a very engineering-driven approach. Now, there's a disadvantage there because if a good engineer could be given these inputs early on, the quality of their final device and deliverable is going to be tenfold better. So that's what we've done at NamNR Pro. Our first tier of service is called the Global Dentists Pool. And what we essentially do through this pool is that we've gathered a whole bunch of practicing dentists all over the world, segregated based on geography, years of experience, and whether they're interested in supporting manufacturers with projects. And what we're doing is we're basically supporting the manufacturers ask the right questions, and then we run surveys in this pool, gather the results, and then give it back to the manufacturers. What we're doing through this process is that we fill the gap. We fill the knowledge gap. And we've also created an opportunity for dentists to be more involved in the dentech space. rather than waiting till the post-market phase years later and then realizing stuff like, oh, the button was not in the right position, or it's too heavy, or it's too light, or the little nitty-gritty things which could have been tackled very early on. So we've created this process, and also through the pool, what the manufacturers gain is that they don't need to rely on just 4 or 5 dentists. They actually have access to this massive pool of doctors. They name the number and we run the survey for them. And the second tier of NamNR Pro is our facilitation services. And something I noticed during my corporate career is really the communication barriers between cross-team interactions. So clinical is working, regulatory is working, marketing has its own thing, sales has its own thing. There's very little understanding of who needs to reach what goal, and almost definitively, I've never seen a single North Star purpose-driven focus point. And that to me was one of the barriers that I felt that we should address as a company. So we, as facilitants at NamNR Pro, what we've devised is we don't just provide you a service, we're also facilitators. So we're running sprints and we're running workshops at a whole different level than what exists in the market right now. And by doing so, we guide the teams to better formulate the right questions around a specific project by providing our input as dentists ourselves. And by doing so, we're facilitating that process of improving the quality of the questions and therefore eventually improving the quality of the deliverable. So the second tier of our service is really our facilitation service, and we include workshops and sprints at whatever point that we feel the team needs it. And the goal is to get, sometimes the goal is to get different teams from different departments in one space and really simplifying the process flow. And finally, the deliverable is who does what, by when, clearly allocated, and also a roadmap drawn for the long-term key questions and deliverables for the whole team to achieve together, i.e., we help the teams define their North Star, and as a clinician, we also provide the team with the why it matters that they build this device. What impact will it have to the people? And that to me was a critical gap that I felt was missing, and therefore we designed the company around this concept. And through this service pool, we hope that we're able to tap into the talent, the true talent of teams working in the dentech space, as well as allowing dentists to get a little taste of what it's like to support manufacturers in these day-to-day projects, in these day-to-day decisions. So come along with us on this journey and call it. If we can support you in any way whatsoever, please reach out. We will be more than happy to jump on board and get you to the goal that you absolutely deserve. Ciao.